Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every Wednesday morning we go through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video, and one person's question will help me make the thumbnail every single week. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video. And if I did comment to you saying great question, I might use this and I didn't, please drop that same question again and put repeat question, and then if it was pretty long, maybe shorten it up a little bit. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. And we do have to get things to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Platinum Protectors. If you guys need any cases for any type of collectible, Platinum Protectors has got you covered. They literally got protectors for action figures, comic books, diecast, Funko Pops, movie box, trading cards, and video games. Super good selection, all different price points. We got the nice thicker cases with the magnetic tops, or you can go bulk, where you're literally paying a couple dollars a case. But they got everything One Piece, Lorcana, Pokemon, Japanese, everything. And they got a ton of new products coming this month, so definitely stay tuned. And if you use PokeBeard at checkout, you receive 10% off your first order of $50 or more. All the links are in the description. All right, first question is from Daniel Diaz 7019. What booster box is the best to invest in out of the Sword and Shield era? So let's hop to TCG player. We got Brilliant Stars market price $298, Battle Styles $185, Silver Tempest $267, Vivid Voltage $201, Fusion Strike $483, Lost Origin $391, Chilean Rain $338, Evolving Skies $1349, Astral Radiance $265, Rebel Clash $275, and I think we're missing Darkness Ablaze and Sword and Shield base set. Now I have to remind you, it is the summer, so some of these boxes could definitely come down in price a little bit. It's definitely happened before, so you got to keep that in mind, especially, we were just in such a crazy market that a lot of these boxes went, a lot higher, faster than they normally would. So the best deal probably, Silver Tempest at $267. I like that so much more than Astral Radiance. Lugia beats Machamp, every day of the week. And then we got Chilean Rain. You got to remember, second most alternate arts in the entire Sword and Shield era. And then it has some very expensive cards like Blaziken and stuff. And I know $338 seems pretty expensive, which it is. But you got to think, 5 years from now, it's not going to seem that expensive. We're going through that right now with the whole Sun and Moon era, where booster boxes are now hitting like $1,500 to $2,000 a box. And, we were stocking up on a bunch of these at $150 to $300. And at the time, it did seem very expensive. But it just takes a while, so you got to be patient, especially with sealed. We got Lost Origin $391. That's not terrible. It's kind of expensive. Fusion Strike $483. That's still kind of crazy to me. It is a super good set. It's just wild how much more expensive it is than the other sets. And then even Evolving Skies, I can see Evolving Skies easily being a $2,000 booster box. Like I said, I'm not sure when, it's definitely going to take some time. But these boxes definitely have some good potential. I'm also a big fan of Brilliant Stars too. It has like the best trainer gallery in my opinion, with multiple Charizard chases. Next is from @Rideout21R97. What are some of your favorite Japanese only promo cards? We're going to hop to Pokedata. So I know a lot of people love the ponchos and stuff, but my favorite cards are these ones right here. So we got the Pikachu Master Battle Set, raw $940. Look at the beautiful Pokemon that are in this card. If you guys are just listening, definitely check this part out. Absolutely beautiful. Then we even have the Festa Pikachu down here. You cannot beat these cards when they're actually with super popular Pokemon all in one card. We got another one right here. We got the Mega Gengar, Mega Lucario, Sylveon. It's just crazy. Those are definitely my favorite Japanese promo cards. Next is from @N1Coff31. Hey Beard, I just started picking up some level X's because they're super nostalgic for me. How do you think they'll do in the future? So it's a good thing that you're picking up stuff that's super nostalgic to where, if it ever doesn't, go super crazy in value, you still have cards that mean a lot to you. Which I do feel like a lot of level X's are pretty undervalued. Here's some of the most expensive ones. Snorlax, market price $190. Charizard, market price $147. And of course, if they're super clean, they get really, really expensive. But like I said, I feel like it's always a safe pickup if you really, really enjoy the cards and are super nostalgic to them. Because, they are somewhat undervalued for how rare they are and how hard they are to pull, how expensive the boxes are, and all the pops are pretty low. So next is from @MysticMuth8411. Hey Beard, if you were to rank the crystals and gold stars, what order would you put them in based purely on opinion and not necessarily value? So I definitely feel like a crystal card looks much better in hand, out of the sleeve, than a gold star card. So I always liked crystal cards much more. We got the Kingdra, Lugia, Golem, Celebi, Ho-Oh, Kabutops, Nidoking, Crobat, Charizard. Now, my favorite crystal card is probably the Celebi. I think this one has like the most beautiful hollow foil and everything, and I feel like the whole bottom fits perfectly with Celebi. And then my second is Kabutops. And then my third is actually Golem. I like that these Pokemon got, you know, these really, really big cards. And then it would definitely be the Lugia, probably. Ho-Oh's also super cool, too. Nidoking's pretty sweet. Crobat's solid. Then we got the Charizard, no complaints there. Next, we have the Gold Star cards. So we got Mudkip, Draco, and Torchic, all from EX Team Rocket Returns. Very solid. Remember, these are shinies. Latios and Latios. These might be some of my favorites for sure. I mean, the Rayquaza Gold Star really cannot be argued that it is definitely one of the best. I mean, it is just insane. Of course, you know, I like Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. I have 3 Suicune Gold Stars. I like the red and the Metagross. Kyogre, now I love Kyogre. This is not my favorite stance. That's my only complaint, pretty much. Groudon's very solid. Then we got the Reggie Trio, with the Regice being my favorite. Gyarados Gold Star is definitely tough to beat. This is actually one of my favorite Pikachu poses. Very, very solid. Mewtwo's awesome. Alakazam's awesome. Celebi, I felt like could have been a hair better. The Charizard is so sick. I like the Gold Star Charizard so much more than the Crystal Charizard for sure. Then we got the Mew. Again, I wish it had a slightly different pose, but still solid. Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon. I'm not the biggest fan of the Jolteon for some reason. That's always just kind of bugged me. My favorite is the Vaporeon. And then we got the Umbreon Gold Star and Espeon Gold Star. I love this Espeon Gold Star. So as you can see, I got a ton of favorites. I've been collecting these cards for my entire life. But if I had to pick one with the best art, I would probably say it's the Rayquaza. I mean, just for them to be able to fit pretty much all of Rayquaza in half of the card like that is pretty sweet. And I love how his claws coming out like that. So that'd probably be my favorite. But all right, next question is from @Ruggenstein. Mega Rayquaza EX from Agent Origins has been going up a lot. Can you explain why? So we're getting Megas soon. So pretty much every Mega card has gone up in price. And in my opinion, this is definitely one of the best Megas. Super low pop. I mean, 582 in a 10, 643 in a 9. But yeah, this is definitely one of the best Mega cards we got. And Ancient Origins is kind of going crazy. So next question is from @Classic808. Hey, PokeBeard, I love the content. I just pulled the Lillie's Clefairy SIR from Journey Together. The prices are dropping pretty fast. Would you hold for future growth, or would you trade it now while the price is still high? So since that set is pretty small, I could definitely see that card coming down in price a little bit more. I mean, it's probably going to be a $150 card. Might get down to $100 one day. You know, I'm not too sure. But you got to remember, when the sets are super small like that, the pull rates are a little easier. So there's going to be a lot of Lillie's Clefairies out there. And then you got to remember, half the people don't like trainers in their Pokemon cards. So yeah, I would probably sell it now. I'm sure you'll be able to get it cheaper down the road. But all right, next question is from @Robward9339, a member. I just spent around $91 on a Chinese Captain Pikachu. Do you see it being a good investment in the future? Thanks, I love your channel. Thank you. So we're going to hop to eBay here. I did see one sold for $63 plus $10 in shipping. I didn't click on it, so maybe the back isn't perfect, but most of the sales are around $80, $90. We got a couple at $80. And honestly, I'm not too sure about these cards just because we've never really gotten them before, so I have no idea how good these Chinese Pokemon cards are going to do. But normally, when we get exclusive arts like this that other languages don't get, they usually do pretty decent, especially if it's Pikachu and especially if it's good arts. So the Captain Pikachu isn't my favorite. I'm liking the other Chinese exclusive artworks that they've shown. You know, we got the evolutions coming up, but this goes with the show, so I have a feeling it'll do pretty decent down the road. Hopefully yours is super clean and maybe you can get it graded. But yeah, I'm definitely liking some of these exclusive artworks on the Chinese side. It's kind of getting crazy. Next is from @JCollects. What are your thoughts on the legendary dogs and PSA 10s from Crown Zenith? I just picked them up in 10s, and I think in a year from now, when Crown Zenith is a bit older, they will go up in price. I feel that Crown Zenith seal is going up, but the cards haven't really gone up and followed the sealed. So now cards do not always follow sealed, especially when they have easy pull rates, like Crown Zenith. So Crown Zenith cards will pretty much always go up and down, up and down. We can see the all-time chart here. Started at $245 in a 10, got down to about $60, back up to $125, down to $85, back up to $173, coming down right now at $133. So it's going to constantly keep doing that. Your best bet is to, wait for another big boom in a few years, and, they'll definitely be more expensive than they were the last boom. But they'll probably come back down similar to the same price, when the market actually cools off. And then the pop in the 10 too is at 8,272. So that's a decent amount, with the 9 being 4,732. So it's pretty easy to grade. And Crown Zenith is going to be one of the most open sets because the pull rates are so easy. So that pop is just going to keep climbing. I don't think these will ever be $1,000 PSA 10 cards. Hopefully I'm wrong because I have a bunch of these Suicunes. But, you know, I could see them maybe getting up to 250 one day or something like that, or 300 at most, probably would be my guess. But all right, next question is from Krivith Ready 9965. What's your thoughts on the Japanese Detective Pikachu promo in the long term? I'm worried about it holding in value since the pop is so high and there's a super high gem rate. Let's check out this pop report. So we have 20,999 10s, which is pretty crazy, and we have 1,389s. Again, super cute card. And last sold in a 10 is $101. So that's definitely one of the most expensive sales we've gotten since, you know, it first came out at like 210 bucks. So it's still slowly climbing, but, you know, again, it's not going to go super crazy. I could definitely see it being maybe a $200 card. You got to think Pikachu with gray felt hat. That has a way bigger pop than this. It's definitely a more popular card, but still, I think this is a super cute card. Plus, it's pretty cheap. You know, it's not super risky. So it's not a terrible hold. It's just not going to get super expensive. Next is from a member at Malcolm Higgins 7005. What's the craziest story you have from working in the restaurant biz? So I got a couple. I was cooking one time and someone started choking out at the counter, and I had to run out there and give them the hammock maneuver. And, you know, a bunch of food came out, so I saved that dude. And then there was also a fight one time in the front by the door, and I had to slam a dude down to the ground. That was pretty sweet. And one time, Josh Julemal came to the restaurant I was working at, like before we opened up, and I cooked breakfast for him. He's the guy who is the soldier in all the original Transformers movies, so that was pretty sweet. But all right, next question is from Unfinished HW. Hey, PokeBeard, I won a Paldea Evolve booster box and a Pokeref giveaway. I wanted to trade it for a Surging Sparks booster box. Thoughts? Fair, not fair, or should I hold? So, you gotta remember, Surging Sparks came out when Pokemon was super hot, basically the hottest it's ever been. And it also does have the Pikachu, Latios, and the Milotic. So in my opinion, it has some of the best special illustration rares we've gotten in the entire Scarlet Violet era. It's just Paldea Evolved, much older set, and it's a much deeper set with much better illustration rares. So it's honestly up to you. I do feel like both are pretty solid, and I feel like both of them will do super good. Next is from Cesara94. Hey Beard, if you have 1,000 and you want to be a card vendor, what would be a great start to buy to start vending at shows? Definitely stick with singles. I mean, you could buy maybe a graded card or two, but $1,000 does not get you too many graded cards unless you're buying super cheap graded cards. So definitely, you know, try to get big collections and then try to get different price point stuff. You know, try to get a big collection that has a bunch of cheap cards that really aren't worth too much, or like worth $1 or $2, so you can get like a dollar binder going or something like that. And then, you know, have a more expensive binder. But singles is definitely where it's at. And then once you get some good singles and you do a couple card shows, you get a little bit more cash coming in. Then you can maybe pick up a graded card lot, and then you'll have graded cards and raw cards. And then maybe you can get a sealed collection from somebody or something, or sell some of your sealed products, whatever you got, you know, just to keep adding stuff to it. And eventually, you know, you're going to be a full out vendor and you're going to have a little bit of everything. Next is from Eric Del Sierra. Would you trade an Umbreon VMAX Alt-Art in a 10, Gengar VMAX Alt-Art PSA 10, Giratina V Alt-Art PSA 10 for 3 Evolving Skies booster boxes and 2 Evolving Skies ETBs, non-Pokemon Center? I do wish those were Pokemon Center ETBs, but still, I mean, if you're just purely about profit and you're very patient, I do feel like the sealed will do better. Next is from Bahamut Damien 3776. I'm debating selling an Evolving Skies booster box or even trading one for the Gengar VMAX Alt. What's your opinion on this? You think in the long run it'll be worth it? I wouldn't do that. I would definitely stick with the sealed. You know, if you really want the Gengar and you're not super obsessed with, you know, every little bit of profit or anything like that, then go for it. But I do have a feeling that Evolving Skies booster box is going to be very expensive down the road. You got to think it's basically the best set we've ever had. Next is from Casino Official 9206. Hey Beard, I got a good question that a lot of people might want to know when it comes to selling. How well does selling sealed do when compared to selling singles and slabs? And is cheaper sealed better than expensive sealed when vending? Thanks, big fan. So the more expensive sealed you have, the slower it'll definitely move. I just did a card show with my buddy Tim, the big 4-day card show, and he brought a ton of Pokemon Center ETBs and almost none of them sold. Like no regular person wanted them. A store hit him up at the end to buy them all for one big deal. But no joke, I feel like he only sold maybe a couple of them at most. So the more expensive stuff, you know, it's definitely for like higher end collectors that don't ever plan on opening that stuff. If you have the cheaper stuff, people want to get it just to open because people just love ripping packs. So that's why, you know, regular ETBs, especially in the Scarlet and Violet era, are very good because everybody's going to be buying those to open compared to a super expensive Pokemon Center ETB that they can't even afford. Because if they're just ripping packs, I mean, they'd rather get 2 regular ETBs than one Pokemon Center ETB. And then the singles definitely sell the most because, you know, it's everybody's price point. If you have a couple dollars or, you know, hundreds or thousands of dollars, then graded, then sealed. So sealed definitely sells the least, unless you have like loose booster packs or something like that, you know, really cheap stuff for people to just buy a couple at the card show. That stuff does really, really well. But if you're talking, you know, $100 and up, sealed products, it definitely takes a while. Not to mention every single card show vendor has almost the same box that you have, so you gotta have the best price also. Next is from Matt. I wish I was Batman. Same. What do you think about collector's insurance for Pokemon cards? Do you have insurance for your collection? Is there any insurance company you would recommend? I have over 5 figures in Pokemon cards. I'm looking to protect my collection in case of fires, floods, etc. Do you think it's a good idea to have collector's insurance? You're the best, PokeBeard. Thanks. So I do have collector's insurance. I got it right after COVID when all my cards and stuff went super crazy. So I've had it for years now. I also do have a storage unit because, I mean, they can give me money to replace cards, but a lot of these cards are my original cards from when I was a kid that I've collected throughout the years. I mean, probably 60% of my entire collection are my original cards. So that's why I have a storage unit, because fires in storage units almost never happen and fires in houses happen every single day. So I'm just super paranoid with that. I even have a safe in there. That's where I keep my most expensive cards. I also have a problem too. I like to take my cards out of the sleeves and look at them and hold them like I used to do as a kid. So that's why I keep my super high-end stuff there, to where, you know, I'm not pulling them out of the binder every day, because if they're here every single day, I'll take the cards out of the sleeves and hold them and feel them and stuff. So I just don't want to ruin them. So yeah, you can definitely talk to your insurance people, or maybe, you know, make a few calls and see what's out there. But it's not a bad idea for sure. It just depends if you can, you know, afford it or not, and how much of stuff is in your actual collection. But all right, next question is from Machine Man 1897. I know the 30th anniversary set is getting closer and closer. Do you think we will get some vintage older cards with the new silver border for the first time for English? Yeah, I'm very excited to see what they're going to do for the 30th anniversary. Like, super, super excited. I really hope they don't just do reprints again. I hope they get a little bit more creative. And, you know, like I always mention, take the original art and extend it, make it an illustration rare, at least if you're going to do, you know, reprints. Because we've had so many reprints now, it's kind of getting old. And last question is from @RX8 Dragon. If the English print facilities adopt Japanese card quality control, what effect would that have on the slab market down the road? Thanks, Beard. So for anything newer, it would definitely hurt the market a ton. Like PSA 10s would barely be worth any more than raw, but the sets before, they'd probably be worth even more, because now all the newer sets are perfect. You know, people want those older cards that are actually super tough to get in the 10. So yeah, if they do that though, all the newer cards, it'll be just a little bit premium on the 10, and a lot of people won't even get them graded because, you know, it's not even worth that much. Rock collectors like myself though would be extremely happy about that, because then every new card we get is just super clean and would look beautiful in the binder. But alright, that was today's Pokemon What If Wednesday. If you guys do like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. And I am going to start posting more shorts and reels on YouTube and Instagram, so definitely check those out. And if you guys want to support more, check out my Instagram, or you can join my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you want to watch my last Pokemon Market Monday, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.